Hey everybody, welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. I'm Jesse, and I'm motivated today. We're gonna get some stuff done. So not sure why I'm so motivated, because it's Monday, but I got a good workout in this morning, so maybe that's why. I don't know. But we're gonna go back to React land today. We spent some time with PHP the last few streams, and I'm just a little frustrated with it, so I want to take a break from that and build a React component. Because this needs done, so may as well do it. Give my mind a little break from the PHP. Maybe I come back to it with a fresh point of view and hopefully figure it out. Before we get started, I just want to let you know about a few other things. First, I want to show you all this GoFundMe campaign that I started, and so Charles is a freeCodeCamp editor for the Medium publication, and he was named one of the top contributors. So he's trying to get to one of these ceremonies / parties, but he needs some help financially. So I'm going to put a link to this in the chat. If anybody's interested, you know, any amount of money would help, but I think it'd be awesome if we could help out Charles in getting there. So, you know, he needs money for the plane tickets, for, you know, getting a hotel, for food, you know, for all that. So he'll be coming from Nigeria. So anyway, check it out if you get a chance. You can read more about his story, and you know, maybe, you know, give a donation or at least share it if you're not really in a good place financially. So that's number one. Number two, I just wanted to give a shout out to my patrons. I haven't talked about it for a long time, but just wanted to remind everybody that I have this. I will link to it, and I'm not going to talk about this every stream, as I've promised before, so maybe once a month or something I'll mention it, but I did want to give a shout out. So thank you so much to Dondra, Oliver, Dawn, and Audrey for being patrons. So right now I have 4 patrons, and I'm super appreciative of that, so thank you so much. And yeah, so let's get started now. Enough about this other stuff. Okay. Also, if y'all follow me on some social media, you might have seen I've been working on a React Native project on the side for balance.io. If anybody be interested in seeing anything about that, the project's open source, so there shouldn't really be a problem with me live streaming that on my. I probably do it on my own channel, maybe like on the weekends or at night or something. So let me know if you'd be interested in seeing that. I really like the project. I'm having a lot of fun working with React Native. It's mostly just UI stuff. So somebody else is working back end and somebody else is doing the design. So I'm taking sketch files and turning them from just the design files and turning them into actual React Native components. So just thought I'd throw that out there, see if there's any interest, and then maybe I'll do some live streams for that as well. So let me know in the chat or in the comments below, or however else you feel like getting a hold of me. Okay, let me get my screens situated now. Cool, I spent less than 3 minutes on all the other business. Now we can get to work coding. Let me say what's up to everybody in the chat. Oh, great, we have almost 60 viewers, so welcome everyone, especially if you're new. Let me give you a little breakdown. We're going to do 25 minutes of code, and then we'll take a little break, about 5 minutes, and I'll go back to the live chat, answer questions, and we'll go back and forth like that. Probably at least twice we'll go back and forth like that, and then at the end, whatever questions are left over, I'll go through the chat, I'll answer all your questions. Feel free to add questions at any time, or let me know if I'm doing something wrong. You know, that's don't be shy about that. And Developer, really happy. Oh, Shoebum says, "Hi Jesse, today I started my career as a web developer. Really happy. Congratulations. Congratulations. I hope you start your career off, really well and you enjoy it. I certainly enjoy what I'm doing." Okay, so let's get to this code. I guess first thing we should start with is let me show you the old way we're displaying this data on the old site, and then we can come up with design ideas for how we want to display it. Once we have the idea in our head about a design, then we'll start doing the coding. So let me start my timer, if I can find it. Yep, here we go. Let's pull this Pomodoro timer over here, start it up. Okay, let's see. This one might have it. There we go. All right, so this is the data that I want to display with this component that we're building. So we'll have a title for the program in general. This is for a university, and we'll have basically four tabs. I'll probably keep the tab idea because I think that works for each year, right? Now it's not always like this, so there's going to be some variations. So for here it's freshman, sophomore, junior, and then they go to a different school to finish out. But sometimes this won't be based on year. So these are going to be variable, and we'll have to figure out how we deal with this, because right now I don't have an input to make these variable. So I'll deal with that on the kind of on the back end side of things. But in terms of the UI, it won't really matter for today. And then within each tab, we'll have two columns, or two sections, and then we'll have courses beneath them. Now these look like they're links, but they're actually not. I'm not sure why they show up as links here. They just link back to the same page. So it's a bit misleading on the current site. I don't really know why it was built like this. So that's what we want. Now we do have this link to view all course descriptions, and this link actually doesn't take you to course descriptions either. So sometimes it does, and sometimes it takes you to the current page. So currently it's not really the best user experience. So that's all the data that we'll have. Now I'd like to figure out what's a better way that matches our design that would work. Oh, Michael asked if we're going to do NDrop today. Yeah, we could do NDrop. Let me grab my terminal and start that up. NDrop. It's been a while since I've done NDrop. I gotta remember how I did that. Alright, sweet. I think I remember it. What port are we on? 3000. Well, we will be on 3000 once I start it. So let's start this up. Whoa. Yarn start. Is that it? Nope. Yarn dev. I'm working on different projects, and sometimes it's yarn dev and sometimes it's yarn start. So I'm getting them confused now. Okay, so if you're not familiar with NDrop, this is going to let you all view what's locally running on my machine, and you'll be able to see the changes and the updates as they happen. So I just need to get this started. Here, I'll pull this over so y'all can see what I'm doing. So here's NDrop, and There's a free version of this, so if you're interested in using this, check it out. Just Google NGrok, N-G-R-O-K, and you should come up. So, NGrok, HTTP, should be 80 or 3000. I mean, 3000. There we go. Alright, so let me give you... I can't remember which ones, if both of these work or not, so I'll just paste both links in here, the HTTPS and the HTTP link. So, there we go. I see some of you are connecting. Cool. Wow, Elon Musk is here in the chat, so welcome. Big fan of your work. Just joking. I'm sure it's not really Elon Musk. Okay, let's get rid of some of these tabs that I don't need. And all right. Where are we at? Here. Alright, this is what we want to look at. So, let me go to... I think we have the pharmacy page working, so we can see both pages side by side. Oh, wow. Right now I have nothing. So this is the page that program would go on, and I have no information right now. So let's try to find a page that actually has information. Maybe, maybe the English page. No. Education. Wow, that image is huge. May need to do something about that because that's really big right now. Okay, so here's the data that we're getting in now, and we just have it in a big list. So let's go back here and see. All right, so we are going with the material design kind of look for everything. So usually when you see material design stuff, the tabs aren't down the side, the tabs are on the top. So we may end up going with something on the top, and we are using Material UI. So let's check out Material UI, and I'm gonna see. So let's check out the tabs, because we may be able to use some of the stuff from the tabs. And I'll paste that in the chat as well, so y'all can check it out if you want. So we may be able to use some of this as kind of the basis for our component, and that'll take care of a lot of the switching back and forth. So we don't really have to think through all that, which is cool. The one thing I'm concerned about is with all these tabs, we're going to have 4 tabs. If we put 4 tabs across the top, depending on what these labels are, that might be too much. I mean, we could try to cut it down, so I mean, we don't really need to use year here. We could say freshman, sophomore, junior. We could even switch it up and say year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. I mean, that's possible. So, I mean, yeah, I guess let's just assume that we can cut this down to be maybe like 6 characters. I think that might be doable to do 4 across. Let's see how this looks when we shrink the screen. All right, at some point, you just scroll. Okay, I'm all right with that. Normally, I don't like horizontal scrolling, but in this case, it would actually fit with what's done with material design. Okay, so hopefully we can avoid that, maybe with adjusting padding and things like that. All right, but that looks good. I'd say that's a good start. All right, so let's assume for now, and we'll build this out and see how it looks, and then we may change it. But let's assume for now that we're going to use these tabs up top to represent, you know, these. Then really this layout here where we have first semester, second semester, I don't think that's bad. I think that's an okay layout. The thing that I worry about is on a mobile screen, what's going to happen. So like this is what happens right now. Right? Well, two things happen, right? So actually that's better than I thought. I assumed it was going to break the layout and we'd have a horizontal scroll. Okay. I like how that stacks. I really do like how that stacks. And I'm not sure if we want to do an accordion here, accordion style menu. We'll see how it looks. So here's the plan, and then after I tell you what the plan is here, I'll check the chat to see if anybody has any objections or other ideas. So we'll start with the tabs up top for each of the years, and then we'll do this look where it's side by side on large screens, on smaller screens it stacks in here. And then depending on how these tabs look on mobile, we may switch up to an accordion style on mobile, just on mobile only. I think the accordion style would not look as good on a desktop. So I like to stick with the tabs if we can, but we'll see how it looks. And to start out with, I'm not going to worry about pulling data from anywhere. We're just going to hard code some of this data. Probably what I'll do is I'll just make an object, an array of objects for all this stuff, and we'll pull it in just within our component. Like I'm not going to, I think that'll be faster than trying to mess with getting this data, which right now, we can't get this data right now because I don't have it set up to be able to get repeater fields from WordPress through GraphQL. So that's what we were working on the last couple streams, and it's not finished yet. We could potentially, if we can't figure out how to do it through GraphQL, we could end up getting that just through the REST API. But I'd rather not make 2 API calls on the page if I don't have to. But that's kind of a backup plan that could buy us some time. We could still launch the site and it would work, and then we could figure it out later. All right. So let me check the chat before we start. Definitely want to see what input you all have. Let's see. So I'm skimming through. I'm going to skip over any questions for now. I'm just going to see if there's anything, any advice for what we're doing right now. All right, Harsh is saying, why is there 17 pixel padding on the body? It looks weird. See on the home page. We got weird stuff going on the home page? I'm not sure what... Harshit, I'm not sure what you're saying with the homepage. John says you could maybe change the prop value of the tab title values based on media queries. Like Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So John's saying that if we need to, we may be able to change what the titles are for the tabs depending on the screen size. So on larger screens, we would have longer, more descriptive titles. On smaller screens, we'd have shorter titles. All right, I'm going to think about that. I'm going to try to get away with just really short titles. And then if my boss or someone really insists that we have more descriptive titles, then I think that's a good plan. William says, so this is an ongoing project you have been working on? Yeah, we've been working on it since like December, January, something like that. So yeah, this is a real project I'm doing for my full-time job here at a university. So yeah, so this is not exactly a tutorial. This is what my work is. So you're going to see me make mistakes, and we're going to make decisions here for this project during the stream, and this is a real project. All right, well, let's get to it. Let's get to the code. So first things first, let's make this component. So we'll go to, let's go to this faculty. Let's go to this faculty.js page first. If you want to see this code, you can go to the GitHub repo that's linked in the description of this video and check out the code. It's all up to date. Everything's open source, so you can do what you want with it. But what I like to do when I design a new component is first I'm just going to build it out within the page that it's going to be in, and then once we get it to a point where we're happy with it, then I'll pull it out, put it in a different a whole different file. It's just kind of nicer to work within one file at first. Okay. So all right, so here's where we have the content is coming in, and we have all the content being pulled in as a big chunk of HTML. That's going to change, so we're already starting to break chunks out of here. So this chunk now we're breaking out is that section that we saw. That's that list of courses. So we'll be putting this section below. So let's check out what code we need. Automatic left and right buttons will automatically be presented on desktop and hit it on mobile. Alright, I think we can go with these. Should be used for larger views. We definitely want to use the scrollable tabs. So let's grab these. We want to get tab and tabs. And it looks like they're getting app bar as well. But I wonder if we can do this without that. Let's see if we can do it without it. And let's see what else we need. Tap, 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 tap. That should be it. I think that's all we need right now. So we'll grab these and we'll import them. So if you're not familiar with React, there might be a lot of stuff that's new here. Feel free to ask questions. I'll do my best to explain. So what we're doing now is we're importing these components. So they're just JavaScript files. We're importing those JavaScript files into this file so that we can use them there. So we say what we're going to name it, and then we say how to get it, right? This is the file path. So we're from now going to refer to all the code in this file as tabs, and all the code in this file as tab. Okay? And these are React components. So we can go down here, and we may as well just copy and paste the code that they have. Save us some time. So we're going to copy and paste this into here, and we're gonna wrap this in a div. I know now there is, I believe, a way to do this without having to wrap things in divs, but I can't remember the syntax for it, so we're gonna wrap things in divs. And why am I getting that? Okay. I think this is just indentation stuff. Yeah. So here's what we need. Let's go back here and grab our state. Where's our state? There it is. Okay, so it's going to use state in React to state values. So we're going to use state to determine which tab we're on, and we may as well copy this as well. So this is destructuring, and see how it lets us not have to type in this state all the time when we want to call something that's in state. So right here under render, we're going to put that in, and now we shouldn't have this line. Let me save and see if I still have that line. That's weird. Constant value, the state. That's weird. Alright, well this should work now. So I'm just going to go with it. Okay, Niki saying, I think this version of Next supports the empty tags as fragments. Can't post here, YouTube blocks it. It's just an empty tag, just remove div. Oh, okay. And Michael Patterson said it's React dot fragment tag, I believe. Okay, cool, let's try it. So down here, actually, let me see. Return layout query. I think I put this in the wrong spot though. Yeah. Let me pull this out because I don't think. I think I can just put this here. Oops. For now anyway. Yeah, we're not actually getting any data yet, so I'm not gonna mess with that right now. We'll just put it here, and then we don't have to worry about it at all. Okay. Oh, we need this dot handle change. That's important. So we're gonna grab this. So we need a function to change the state whenever we click on a new tab, right? So now whenever a tab is clicked on, we're gonna call this SetState value, right? So we're gonna change value to a different number, right? Each of the tabs now are numbered, What is this? So that's how we're going to know which content to display. Okay, so we have our tabs and tab labels, and then where's our content? Here we go. Oh, I see how they did it. So they have this tab container up here in a function. Interesting. All right, that'll be what we get into next. For now, the timer's almost up, so let me go back to the chat, answer questions for about 5 minutes, and then we'll come back, add in some content, and then see what it looks like. Do a short break. All right, I'm going to scroll up to the top of the chat now and scroll down through, get to as many questions as I can. Okay, Michael had said definitely put year 1. So we were talking about what labels to use for our tabs. So it says because of people changing majors mid-career. Okay, that makes sense. So to say sophomore, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, it might not work for everybody, right? Technically, you could be a sophomore and then change to a different program, and you're really going to be year 1 in that program. So I do like that idea. Benny says, how do accordions play with mobile devices? I would think if there's a lot of info in the tab, it would be a pain to scroll on a mobile device. Yeah, so there are a couple issues I've noticed with using accordions on mobile devices. Is that, well, sometimes it can be a little like janky when you try to open and shut the accordion, depending on how you do it. So the accordion that I've used before with materialized CSS, which is not React based, it is a little bit janky. I don't. Now that's been probably a year or two ago that I've used that, so it may be fixed now. But it wasn't. The animation just was not smooth. So I've done accordions in React, just really basic accordions with no real animation, and they're fine on mobile. But you're right about the scrolling. So you open it up, have a lot of content, you got to keep scrolling. You do have the option to then close that, but potentially if you open it, read all the way through, then you come into the next one, you don't want to have to scroll way back up. I mean, it's possible you could make it so that once you click on that next section of the accordion menu, the first one closes, so you'd never have more than one open at once. So that could help keep the page a little bit shorter. Yeah, but I definitely, I understand, the accordion is not, it's not always the best choice for mobile. If you're not sure what we're talking about with the accordion menu, this is it. So when you have these little kind of drop down things here, that's sometimes called an accordion. All right, MV Irma coding. Not sure how you want that pronounced. It says, please create apps with React Native. All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I mentioned I'm doing a side project with React Native, and if anyone's interested, I may do some streams on my channel for that. So the link to my channel is in the description. So if anybody wants, you can go to my channel. If you subscribe and turn on notifications, you should get notified anytime I live stream. So maybe I'll start streaming that project, that React Native project. Okay, Michael says, I can't remember the link to get to the department you're working on. NDrop/education goes to the old page. That's weird. You mean like if you're on ngrok and then you type /education, it goes to this page, like the main website? Did we have to do it a different way? I can't remember. Okay. All right. It looks like there's discussion about F1. Oh, so Formula One racing? Is that it? All right. So I'm going to skip over that. You're welcome to discuss that in the chat, but I'm not going to read it out. All right, cool. So I actually got through everything. If I missed your question, just put it in there again, and I'll see it the next time around. Let's start up our next 25-minute timer, and now we're going to get this component working. So it should show up below here is where we'll see it. I don't think I've saved it yet, so we're not seeing it yet. Let's see. Did I still not save it yet? Let's save it and see what we get. Nothing? Yeah, that is it. Oh no. I know why. I'm looking in the wrong component. We're not on faculty, we're on we're in major. Okay. Let me get the right page up here. Let's close out some stuff because I have too many things open. Okay. Major. All right. So let's just get rid of this stuff I added over there, and I can pull these out, put them here in the query. Actually, now that I think about it, we should put this inside the query component, because at some point we hopefully will be getting the data from GraphQL. If not, we can move this, but for now let's put it in here, and let's try, what did you say I could do? An empty? Is this what y'all are talking about with the shorthand for the React fragments? Let me know if that's the way to do it or not. I guess I can just look it up. It's not. Let me get this copied over, and then I'll just look up the syntax. Because I don't think we've done anything with fragments. Wait, is the global X still in there? Oh no. I can't believe it's still in there. Every time I've seen it, I've tried to take it out, but that was just something Harshit put in there for testing. So keep forgetting to take it out. Alright, so let's grab these two things and then that one, and we'll be finished getting everything out of here. There we go. Oops. Okay. And now I'm just gonna back out of all this stuff. There we go. Okay. Done. Alright, let's just check this. Fragment Syntax. Okay, fragments. Fragment Component. There we go. Syntax for. Cool. Alright, so that should work. Alright, let's check out. Oh, property value of null for what? Just 30. Alright, what did I miss? Alright. Alright, anybody see what the issue is? I probably should double check this to make sure we got everything that we needed. Alright, so pulling these, that's good. We didn't use this yet. We're not using prop types. We don't need this root style, right? Yeah, we're not using that here. Probable tabs, button. We have the state. We have the handle change. Props. Are we even bringing in any props? No. Alright, we have everything. Maybe I don't have the latest version of Next, so maybe it doesn't support this. So let's just throw in a div here just to see if that makes a difference. Let's get rid of these. Okay, so it wasn't that. So I guess I'll go back to what we had before. Value this interchange. Oh, okay. It says, John says, is it not necessary to import Fragment from React when using the empty tags? I don't know. Okay. All right, so we don't need to specifically import Fragment, as Harshit's pointing out in the chat, because it comes in with React when we just import React up here. Or what are we bringing it? We really brought it. Yeah, up here. There we go. All right, let me paste in the rest of what we're supposed to have. Because 1, 2, 3. We'll just paste in a couple of these. Maybe it's looking for these. I don't know. That doesn't really make any sense. Shoot. Michael says roll back and add one thing at a time. Yeah, actually that's a good idea. Instead of adding things, let's take away things. Let's get rid of a little bit just so that we have less to deal with. Let's take the tabs out. Cannot read property value of no. Is this state? Cost value. All right, let's just take this out. All right. All right, what am I doing? Do I have the style in the wrong place, or the state in the wrong place? Maybe that's it. No, I don't. Why isn't it recognizing the state? Michael said, I meant comment them out. Yeah, I guess that would have been easier. What the heck? So it's just not, it's not recognizing that there's a value. Can't read property value of null. So when I try to go get this state, it's saying that state is null. All right, so the error message, here's the more close-up of the error message. So it can't read property value of null. So I'm trying to look at the property value of state, of this state. So for some reason it's saying state is null. And I'm wondering why does it say state is null? I mean, maybe a copy and paste thing? Alright, Harshit's saying try console logging this state. Which I'm assuming it's not going to be able to find state, but let's see. Alright, let's get rid of this. I don't know what happened, but it just decided to work. Alright, but we've got all kind of weirdness going on here too. Okay, so we now have state. Why do we have... Alright, let's get rid of that, and... Whoa. Alright, so I'm gonna just go with the div here, because when I don't do the div and I try to do the fragment, it keeps inserting all this stuff. So maybe that's just, I don't know, maybe that's just my editor and the way I have it set up. But I'm okay with just using div. It shouldn't mess up anything. Alright, so now, let's see this. Yeah, alright, so now we don't have that weirdness going on. But here we have our tabs. Great, we have our tabs. Took way longer than I thought to just get these tabs working, but sometimes that's how it is. Okay, now that we have our tabs, we can put some content here that correspond to those tabs. So let's just grab a few of these. and we will paste them down here below the tabs, and let's add another tab here. And let's change item to year. Year 4. And I may change these to numerals. We'll just see how much space they take up. And I guess I can try to put. Alright, yeah, let's destructure that value again. I'll just copy it. Okay. For now, let's just change this. See what we have already up here. We pulling in anything? Nah. Alright, for now I'm just going to change this to the div, and it'll just display this. Okay. There we go. So now you see we click on these tabs and we get the data changing here. So awesome. So that works just like we wanted to. Actually doesn't take up that much space. Let's shrink it up a bit. Alright. Oh, I'm zoomed in here. Here we go. Yeah, so if we get it kind of smaller, we will have this scroll here. Okay. I can handle that for now. Alright, so now we need a little bit of structure for this part of it. Okay, and then we'll also work on we'll work on this, right? We don't really want, it looks like this is getting centered or something. We don't really want that, so we'll need to fix that too. But first things first, let's get the data in there and see how it looks, and then we can work on styling it a bit more. Alright, in about 3 minutes I'll go back to the chat and check out what's going on there. So I think we'll go with let's see what we have here in Material UI in terms of lists. Do we need a list? See what the lists look like. Yeah, I don't think we really need to go with a list like this. We can probably just go with basic like ULLI. Alright, so for now, I guess I'll just build this out right here. So we'll need two. This will be this one. Alright, we'll just do it like this. 5 classes. What's the... Is there something for an unordered list that's like a list header? I can't remember. If there is a tag like that, let me know. That would probably be better to use for accessibility than just creating an LI and putting a style on it to make it bold. You know what, we should put this in a grid. Yeah, let's check out how we're using grid elsewhere. Whoops, that's my timer. Let's take a short break. I'll go over some questions now in the live chat, and then we'll finish up just one part of this component with just some testing data, just so we could see what it'll look like, and then we'll probably finish up the stream after that. I'm going to try to find out where I left off and then answer questions from there. Okay. MV Irma Coding says Mverma Coding. Anyway, let me know how I'm supposed to say that. It says, can you use Material UI with React Native apps? And as far as I know, the answer to that is no. And it looks like we got some other answers for that as well. Harshit says you can try native base. Also says it's always a good idea to look up an awesome list for the stack you're using. On MPG says, what's best performance between using regular CSS style or inline React CSS style as a way to styling? I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I would guess usually regular CSS is more performant than anything you can do in JavaScript. But I don't have any numbers or anything to say like how much more it is. So that's, if I had to guess, that's what I would say. Harshit says performance-wise, inline styles are the best. But it doesn't give you any major feature like media queries, etc. Nowadays, we style components solution like emotion styled components for rendering React styling. Yeah, there's a lot more solutions for that. Let me reread this because regular CSS style or inline React CSS style as a React way to styling. Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see that. The reason I was thinking the inline React style would require more JavaScript is because there's JavaScript happening in the background to apply those styles inline. But I mean, like for instance, in this app, it would be server-side rendered, most likely cached, and then served as HTML to the user. Or potentially, if we're doing the client-side routing, it would still be cached in our service workers. So in that case, I guess it's going to seem like regular inline HTML, CSS styles to the user. So yeah, the inline would be faster. So anytime you're not importing an extra file, that's going to be faster. But usually, I don't know, usually I found like the difference in that is going to be so small, like milliseconds, right? It's not going to be a huge performance increase. maybe there are some circumstances where it would be. So I guess I just wouldn't. I don't worry that much about that because it's not really a big difference. Jolito says, shouldn't state be assigned inside the constructor? I'm not sure. We can do state like this. I'm trying to remember. Wasn't that there? You used to. At one point, you used to have to do state differently, but this way to do state actually, I think, is the preferred way. Okay, Niki said he is using the Babel plugin transform class properties, so the declaration of state outside the constructor is valid. Okay, I remember a while back in one of the projects we had a big debate about this and looked up whether or not the way we're doing state here is the way we should do it. And I can't remember all the details. All I remember is that after much debate and research, we concluded that this was the way we were going to do state for these projects. All right. Suniki says, so what fixed it? Honestly, I don't know what fixed it. The only thing I did was I did a refresh. I opened up DevTools and I refreshed the page. That's it. I don't think I changed anything in here. So I'm not really sure what happened, but it works now. Alright. Benny says, sorry I wasn't here for the Babel stuff. Oh, don't worry about that. We've done it. Honestly, we set that up like a year ago for a project and then just kept copying the config over for all our future projects. So I didn't even remember that we were using Babel to get that to work, honestly. And I either set it up or I merged the PR that did set it up and somebody else did it. So either way, I still don't even remember, and I should. All right. Okay, I didn't get through everything, but let's finish up and get something on the screen here for this component that we can look at, and then I'll get back to the chat and finish up answering any questions that you have. So I figure we'll probably go maybe like a half hour longer on this stream, depending on how soon we can get this done and how many questions are in there. So if you have any questions, get them in there, somewhat soon before the stream ends. All right, so where are we at? Down here. Oh, okay. I couldn't find where my LIs were. Okay, so the grid stuff is where I'm going to go next. I just want to see what the syntax is. I forget. Okay, grid container spacing, and then grid item. All right. And then we need a grid item. All right, so our grid it's basically like column classes. So if you're thinking CSS grid, that's not really what's happening here. These are components in Material UI. Well, we need to import them. Okay. I just like to say, having a good setup in your editor for doing React or really any type of coding saves you a lot of time, like having it auto highlight things when I forget to import them, or it's really helpful. Otherwise, before I had this stuff, I would have forgotten to import that. I would have tried to run it. I would have gotten an error. Best case scenario, I would have remembered immediately that I had to import it. Otherwise, I probably would have gone through debugging, tried to remove stuff, only to realize that I forgot to import that. So it takes a few minutes to set up, but it'll definitely save you a lot of time in the long term. All right, so we've got this grid here, this grid item, and I'll explain how the grid works in just a second. So right now, what we're saying is we have these two grid items, and we want each one to take up 12 columns, right, in the screen. So the system's based on 12, so this means full width. We don't really want them to be full width all the time. So let's say we want them to be full width if it's extra small, but if the screen is, let's say, medium and up, we want them to be 6, so we want them to take up half the screen, right? So let's put 6 in here. I think this will do what we want it to do. Okay, so we're going to save that, and we're going to go over, and we should get... Okay, so it's showing us now they're stacked like that. Obviously, that's not how I want this styled, but I'm not worried about that right now. What should have happened is once it gets larger, it should have went to 6. So I did something wrong. Small. Oh, you know what? It's probably MD and not just M. MD. There we go. So we have our columns that are taking up 50% of the width, and then once we get to a smaller screen, it goes down like that. We could probably keep it in the columns for longer. So let's drop this down. Instead of medium screens, let's say small. Whoa. I don't know how I accidentally pasted that in there. Okay, so this still works. We'll have to see. Let's see how small we can get down with this. Okay. So as long as we don't really have the course names getting really long, I mean, they could always wrap down on the next line. That would be okay. This should work. Okay, and then it would be like that for each one. I'm not going to copy and paste each one of these. What's going to happen, though, is we would pull in this data, and we'd iterate over each piece of data. So most likely each tab, or I'm sorry, yeah, each tab, so each year would be its own object in an array of objects. So we would loop over that, and for each loop it would add another tab each time we went through the loop, and it would also add another one of these divs here, and then within that it would show us, we would have our sections, but we'd also loop over and put these LIs in for each class, right? So we wouldn't actually have all this markup, taking up a ton of space, right? We just loop through it and keep adding this. Programmatically, it would just be added, right? So that's why I'm not going to copy and paste all this out. If it looks right and it works on one, it'll look the same on the other ones. I was thinking of like making that structure, that array of objects, and testing it out, but I don't think I'm going to do that because we've already have coming up on an hour and 15 minutes of streaming, so I'm not going to do that right now. Basically, it would be something trying to think of an example where we've already done that in this project. All right, I can't think of it right now. But we would use map, right? So we would do array.map, and then inside that map function, that's where we would do all of our assignments here. And then each one of these classes would be another .map inside of it. Okay, so we just have to make sure we structure our data in the right way to be able to do this easily with .map. Okay, so I'm gonna submit this stuff. I'm gonna make a commit, push it up to GitHub so that you all can see all the code that was added and you can mess with it, and then that way I won't forget to do it. And Michael says, didn't we map in faculty list.js? Yes, we did. Awesome. Let's see that. Yeah, so I don't want to leave you all hanging here. So thank you, Michael. So here's what. Right, so we're getting faculty data, right? So we're grabbing that from GraphQL. We're getting the faculty data. We're doing .map right here. Okay, so we have, this is our return for our React component. So we have this stuff that looks like HTML. Okay, this is JSX. That's what we call it. Then if we put our curly brackets here, we can jump back into JavaScript land and we can write JavaScript. So we're now using this constant that we've created up here, which is just our data that we're pulling in from WordPress, and it is an array of objects. So we can use map on arrays, and then once we have an object, we can just use our dot notation for objects, right? And we can say we want to get faculty. So we've assigned the name faculty to each object in this array that we're mapping over. So we can say faculty.node. So now we've gone into the .node object, and now we're getting slug. We're also getting the title and the content. So now this will end up in our page, in our HTML, with all the content for the 0th item in the faculty data array. Then it will go to the number 1, which is really the second item, right? And it'll get all that data. It'll loop through each one, and we'll get this on the page for each one, but it'll have the unique data of title, content, and slug. So we're going to do the same thing. It'll be slightly more complicated because we'll have to have nested maps because we have those lists. So it'll look a bit longer. We'll definitely make it its own component because we don't want to have one component that's really huge with all of that. So it'll be its own component. But that's what we'll do in here to clean this up. And then it will allow us to have all the data. We'll keep our components really clean. The data will get pulled in from WordPress. And it's really kind of nice when you can render so much data with so little markup in your components. But that's the plan. So let me commit this. So we're just going to do a git add and yarn cm. So normally you would just do a git commit command after that, but we have a special tool set up here that helps us create a nice commit message. So that's why it's a little bit different. I'm going to say we're going to add a new feature, and we'll say we've add basic add basic tab course schedule to major page. Okay. We don't need a longer description. We didn't break anything, and that's by default. And I don't think we had Let's double check and see if we did have an issue for this. I don't think we did, but it's always good to reference it. Where am I at? Usually I have the link to this. There we go. Other issues. Also, if you would like, feel free to take on any of these issues and submit a pull request. If you need help with that, let me know. Refactor page components. Oh, style sample program sections. Actually, this is regarding that, so it's not going to close this issue. So here's how we're gonna say. I believe if we put RE and then the issue number, it will be referenced in that issue, but it won't close the issue. So this is number 102. Oops, 102. If we were to put fix and then the issue number, it would automatically close that issue as well, which we're not totally done yet, so I'm not going to close it yet. But now anybody that looks at that issue will be able to see that this commit did something that has to do with that issue. So we have a lot of automated tests that it's running through and automatic code formatting. So it's gone through all that, it's passed everything, and now we can do a git push. And we're still in development, so we still push to the master branch. Normally that's not the best idea. Like if your project is already live, usually people set up a development branch, but in this case master's okay. So now all this code is available on GitHub, and let's check out our issue, and we can see here it's been added here. We've referenced this issue, so 18 seconds ago. So this is our commit, and now there's a record of it within this issue as well. So that's pretty cool. All right. Okay, cool. So let me go to the live chat. At this point, I'm just going to answer questions. All the coding stuff is done. We may go back to the code if we get a question that references the code. But otherwise, it's question time. So if you're not interested in question and answer, feel free to leave the stream now. And thank you so much for watching. Join us again for another stream at some point. Otherwise, if you're going to stick around, please put your question in the chat now or help answer some questions. I definitely do not know everything, and I rely on your expertise for a lot. Oh, cool. William said the LH tag is the list header. Awesome. I'm going to put that, I'm just going to make a note right here. LH. I'm going to put that in there now. It's not going to show up on GitHub, but that'll be a reminder to me. Thank you, William. In general, if HTML has a solution to something, it's better to use it because that's going to be better for screen readers to pick up. So instead of, as I said before, using an LI and just putting the class of header on it and then styling that, a screen reader won't pick that up as the header, right? But it would be able to explain that this is the header for this particular list. So it's definitely much better for accessibility. That's not all you need to do for accessibility, but it's a great start. Harsha says, have you checked out the new repo for JavaScript AF that we are constantly maintaining? I haven't checked it out in a while. I do get updates on the activity that happens, so I'll need to check that out. And actually, Harsha, we'll need to talk about that because I think, well, I'll have to check it out again, but it might be time to do like a real launch if we're ready for it. I'm okay with doing kind of like the MVP launch here, so a minimum viable product. Doing that launch and just kind of seeing, what happens. Because I know you've been doing a lot of work for it, and yeah, it'd just be. I'm just interested to see what kind of response we get if we officially were to launch it and kind of put the word out there. Let's see. Oh, Michael says, is LH still supported? Oh, okay, that's interesting. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to check that out. Let's check that out. Trying to find something new. These are so old. All right, let's go past year. All right, let's just try MDN's article on the UL to see what can go in there. All right, permitted content, LI elements. Maybe not. Let's check out. Yeah, so there's nothing on LH in MDN. Okay, so I'm not sure about that. Okay, John Hansen says the proper way to title a list is to wrap a heading tag and the UL tag with a section tag. Okay. Let's check this out. All right, let's put that in quickly. So we're gonna wrap the entire UL then in the section tag. And then within there, let's move this out and put it here. And we'll change this to like an H3. So, John, let me know if this is kind of what you're thinking. We can actually see if this. Okay. I mean, visually, that's okay. I definitely would style this a bit, but I mean that works. Michael said, even though I haven't had any motivation to work on my stuff for Udacity/Google in the last 5 weeks, I still remember little. 5 weeks? So you haven't had... Have you not worked on your stuff for 5 weeks? That's a long time. Let's see. Anyway, I think we have to try to find a way to motivate Michael to get back to coding. So everybody throw your ideas for coding motivation in the chat now or in the comments of the video. So you gotta get back into it. I do appreciate that you're still watching the stream though. That's cool. Benny says CSS Grid is judging you right now. I know. Well, you know what? For me, it's like I always want to learn CSS Grid, but it seems like every time I start to get motivated to learn it, I do a React Native project, and then I have to use Flexbox again. So I just learned more about Flexbox. Yamil asked what the name of the tool was for better formatting commit messages, and Niki says it's Commitizen. So I just wanted to say that out loud in case you can't see the live chat right now. That tool is Commitizen. Niki says you can also use Commitlint. It's very similar. Okay, cool. I haven't used that, but thank you for the recommendation. UI developer says, what is that lib? I'd like to take on issues. UI developer, if you're talking about the GitHub repo that I had up on the screen for this project, the link should be in the description to this video. Oh, and I see Benny also mentioned that it's posted in the description. Thanks, Benny. Harshit says, let's try Commitlint this time. Should we try it on the next project? I'm all right with that. Reuven says, can somebody be more handsome than Jesse? Thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's always good for the ego. I did shave yesterday, which I hadn't shaved in a while. I was getting pretty scruffy, so so it might be looking less scruffy than normal, I guess. Eight-Bit Engineer says, how long have you been coding with React? Let's see. Over a year now. So maybe like going on a year and a half, I think. Benny said, push to master, looks out a window waiting for nuclear missile to launch. Sometimes I think when you have like one person working on a project or a very small team, you can get away with things that you'd never want to do on a larger project with a large, like especially distributed team. So yes, we do push to master. Ahmed says, how to get React to work in Visual Studio Code. Yeah, as far as like extensions are concerned for Visual Studio Code, a good way to start out with if you're doing React is to get the React Food Truck extension, and that will install a lot of React extensions that are very helpful. Just be careful about performance. If you start seeing a lot of lag happen, then maybe disable. There's one part of React Food Truck, I think it's still there. It was when I first came out. Automatically told you the size of the packages you're importing. So if you turn that off, the performance is fine. But that's how I would start out. It's called React Food Truck. So just Google that and install that, and that'll be good to get you started using React with Visual Studio Code. Chris asks, how easy has WordPress been to integrate into this project? To be honest with you, we've done similar things with WordPress before, so it's not that hard to integrate it in because we're used to it. Part of the biggest issue that we're having right now is we can't get some of the fields. We're using the Advanced Custom Fields plugin to create what they call repeater fields, and we can't get that data right now through GraphQL. We're using a plugin called WP GraphQL. So we have not been able to get that data yet. We can get other data with Advanced Custom Fields, but not that data. Other than that, we've had really no problems that I can remember. So I mean, it's basically you're just getting data from an API. So it wouldn't necessarily even matter if it's WordPress or anything else where you can get data from. As long as you can get the data and display it, it works. And so the only tricky parts on the WordPress end are just making sure that we have the right post types and fields set up and making that data available. But I try to use a minimal amount of plugins, but also minimize the amount of custom PHP work I have to do. So that's kind of a balance right now between keeping the plugins, definitely I like to keep it under 10 plugins if I can. And we've done more PHP work than I normally do, but we have a lot of custom post types going on. All right, Harshit says, people will love the news, spoiler alert, and I will also set up emails so that you can get your daily dose of awesome dev news and packages. That's awesome. Harshit, I'm excited about the news part of it. I think that was an amazing idea. That was your idea, right, Harshit? I want to make sure you get credit for that. That's a really, really good idea, I think. So, in case you all don't know what we're talking about, a while back I happened to purchase the domain javascript.af, and I asked you all what I should do with it, and we've kind of come up with this website that pulls together a lot of really awesome JavaScript repositories from GitHub and a lot of good news. And I don't know what all features we have active right now. So there's some other features that may be there, like a lot voting on things, and like you can add your own repos. So I'm not sure what features will go live with the official launch, but I think it'll be a cool site. I just kind of like the name. I thought it'd be cool to have that name, and since I purchased it, I thought we may as well do something with it. And Harshit and Nikki have done an amazing job of working on that. My contribution has mainly been just like paying for hosting, and a little bit of guidance on the project here and there. I don't even know how many pull requests or commits I have, but anyway, I would love to be more involved with the project, but most of my projects now are stuff that I get paid for. I haven't really had time for side projects. Arshad said, we'll be setting up Kubernetes today. Awesome. Albert says, how long till you're finished with this project? I don't know. I really hope soon. The way the project will go, there won't really be a finished. There'll be a launch date, and then I'll probably continue to work on parts of it and make it better. So some of it will be optimization for the speed. Some of it will be making it easier for content creators to upload their content through WordPress. So I don't know, fixing bugs. It'll be, yeah, but I'll probably move on to another project, and then we'll come back to this project occasionally when something comes up. Oh, cool. John says that this format is the way to do it. So thank you, John. I appreciate that. Getting close to the end of the chat here, so don't delay if you have a question or comment you'd like to get in there. Let's see. I lost my place, sorry. Sometimes it just auto scrolls down to the bottom and I have to figure out where I was at. Okay. Michael says below the UL tag. Wait, so should the H tag go below the UL? Let's see. Niki says, I've never browsed the web with a screen reader. Maybe I should. Yeah, it's been a really long time since I've attempted to browse anything with a screen reader, but I think that's good practice for anyone. For those of you who don't know, a screen reader is a tool that allows people with vision impairment who can't see your website, that allows them to have the websites read out to them. And so if your website's created properly, it'll make sense when it's read out. But if you do weird things with your markup, it'll confuse the screen reader and then also the person who's being read to. So we want to make sure that we have our markup be right, be correct. So it's not enough to just have it display properly visually on a screen and say, oh, users will never check out the code. Well, that's not necessarily the case. The screen reader will read through it, and it doesn't matter how you styled it, with CSS. If you did this whole list and you didn't use ULs and LIs, and let's say you just made it all divs and then styled it to look like a list, screen reader is not going to pick up on that being a list. So it's just something to keep in mind, that it's not really obvious if you've never had to use a screen reader. Benny says, Jesse, can I have you as a wingman? You want me to be your wingman? Sure. Oh, okay. The extension for VS Code that I was talking about that uses up a lot of RAM or a lot of computing power is called import cost. So if you do load up React Food Truck and it still comes with import costs, you may want to disable import costs. It's really cool, but it just eats up. I remember the stream kept lagging and we couldn't figure out why for a long time, and then finally we figured out that it was import cost when I used to have it on there. So that's why I don't run it anymore. Dion says, Niki, try it, meaning try to use the screen reader. It helps to become a better ARIA developer. ARIA is relates to accessibility. It's like accessibility standards, because you can empathize better with users who use screen readers. Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree, Dion. Let's see. Vishnu says, where can I find the starter kit to follow the session? Do we have a starter kit really? I'm not sure. This project has so many streams. I'm not sure where the best place to start would be. I mean, it would be insane to try to catch up. At this point, I would say the best thing is just to ask a lot of questions when you watch, and we'll try to get you caught up, as we can. And I don't know, try to go through the code as much as you can. You can always look back on early commits to try to get an idea of where we've come from. The link to the repo is in the description to this video. Benny says, Jesse, GraphQL or REST or both? All right, so I really like GraphQL better than REST APIs because you get just what you want and nothing else in terms of the data. So if I have the option to use GraphQL, I will choose GraphQL. But REST APIs are still awesome. So I'm not hating on REST APIs. I just think that using GraphQL to make one API call, get all the data you need and only the data you need, is definitely better than having to make multiple API calls to hit different REST endpoints, and then at each of those calls you're getting back a bunch of data that you potentially don't need. Oh, okay, so Harshit says we're not even using now right now, so you can save money there, or you can keep Beta Lab. Okay, so Harshit, so it's cool if I shut down the now account? That would actually be good, because that's like 25 bucks a month to keep that alive. So, I mean, unless there's a really good reason to keep it like that, I mean, I'd be all right with shutting it down. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind covering the cost for this project until we can get some sort of like ad money or funding or something. But I mean, 25 bucks is 25 bucks, right? It's be better to have it than not. Yeah, okay, there was some talk about what we're using for the search. We are using REST API for the search because our GraphQL setup with the WP GraphQL plugin can't do what we need it to do. So we are using a combination of the WordPress REST API and WP GraphQL. And Tion says, love that domain name. Thank you. I just thought, like, I gotta have it, right? I don't know what made me think about it, but when I realized .af domain names were a thing, I immediately just searched for different domain names I can get, and JavaScript was one of the first ones I searched for, and I was like, oh, it's open, I'm gonna get it, without knowing at all what I was gonna do with it. I just thought I just want to have it. Ahmed said, I finished Bo's fundamental, so I'm assuming that's Bo Karn's JavaScript fundamental video series here on the freeCodeCamp YouTube channel. It says where to go from there. Kind of depends on what you want to do. Have you done the freeCodeCamp curriculum yet? Because I mean, I think that would be good to go through that. In terms of video series, I mean, depending on what you want to do, you could check out some of the other things here on the Free Code Camp channel. We've been adding a lot of series for all different topics recently. This particular series, Live Coding with Jesse, is not really great as a tutorial, but it can be good just to see what it's like to encounter issues and work through them, and see like how we set up like a real project and go through the whole process of testing and launching it and maintaining things. So yeah, so I mean, I think there's value in it as well, but not necessarily as a tutorial. Smikmani says, you seem to be a bit down. Is everything fine? Hope everything is well. Yeah, everything's cool. I think if I seem a bit down, it's probably just because I'm really hungry right now. So I actually feel good other than being really hungry. But I'm starting to feel really good. I've got on some different medication for my depression. FYI, if you're new to the channel, I do suffer from depression and some anxiety issues, and I do a combination of therapy and exercise and medication to try to help with that. And I've recently gotten on some different medication so I'm on antidepressants, but recently I'm doing a hormone replacement therapy and a thyroid medication. I just started that. So not sure if it's actually kicking in yet or if it's just placebo effect, but I'm starting to feel better. Doctor I went to said, potentially if your thyroid levels are low and your testosterone levels are low, that could also cause depression. And since I've been on the antidepressants for so many years and I'm still struggling with depression, he thought it's worth a shot. So anyway, this is not official medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I'm just letting you know what's going on in my life, and particularly how it affects my coding. So I think that, along with working out and getting good sleep, is helping. Right? It's helping. I'm not laughing 24/7 and happy all the time, but it seems like I'm doing well. So thanks for asking, though. Oh, okay. Harshit says the documentation for the UI library is also looking great. Have a look. Oh, cool. I definitely got to catch up on all that, Harshit. I've just been so busy since vacation, and since I got back from vacation. It's just between this project and the project for Balance. So busy. Okay, so Michael Creo is saying, yeah, the H3 should go inside the UL. All right. Let's do it. And let's save that. Let's check it out. Oh, okay. I mean, I like that, that it's lined up more. And this will look a lot better once I take away these. Right? So that'll just, in case you're wondering, that's just CSS class of list type or list style type, something like that, and then you just put none. I think it's list style type none in your CSS, and we'll put that on a UL, see if it works, and if not, we'll put it on the LI and see if it works, and that'll get rid of that bullet point. Let's see. Thanks, Michael. Nino says, is there a library in React that gives you a customizable carousel? Probably. I don't know for sure. Material UI might have something. I don't remember. They might have something, but yeah, I haven't really had a need for a customizable carousel in React, so I don't know for sure. Lugomania7 says, what do you think about having a portfolio website domain using the new domain such as .xyz? I think it's okay for your portfolio. I mean, it's for any website. I think it's good. Like, if you can use your name and keep it short, that's fine. You can't always get like a top level .com name or something like that. So I was really lucky to get it, probably because my name is just not that common. That I have jesseweigel.com. Don't go there, it's terrible. But one day I'll fix it up. But yeah, I think it would be better to get the domain name that you want, regardless of whether it's .xyz or .io or whatever you want it to be, than to try to have some weird long name and have it be a .com. That's just my opinion. Speaking of, like, if I saw somebody's portfolio on on the resume and I saw the link, I'm way more likely to go to it if it's just short, no matter what the ending is. So that's important to me. On the side of, like, if I was interviewing it for a new developer position or something. But I'm not sure. There might be some other factors that I'm not seeing. World says Harshit is the honorary boss. Yeah, Harshit's knowledge of coding is quite amazing. So usually when Harshit recommends something, I for sure try it. Don't always go with it 100% of the time, but definitely try it, and most of the time end up going with it. Michael says, still 44 watching after 90 minutes. Must be a record. Yeah, wow, we have 45 now. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around and watching. That's awesome. Usually people can't handle the really long streams. We're going up on 2 hours almost now. So, right when I said it, 2 people dropped out. Dion says, way to seize the day with the domain name. Thanks. John says... Jesse's videos give you the coding bug to try out new things. Hear that, Michael Creel? Watch a bunch and you'll be good to go. All right, cool. Thanks. Cool. Benny says, thanks. One more sub from here. Thank you for the subscription. I appreciate that. I will stalk you for React Native. CSS Grid really shines when you combine with Flexbox. One day I will inject it into React Native personally. Sweet, that'd be awesome. Steven says, why depression? I had no idea. Honestly, I don't know why. I don't know why I have depression. In my late teenage years, it started, and I didn't really know what was going on. I started having panic attacks, and yeah, so I've been trying to deal with it ever since. I tried to do it without medication for a couple years, and it kind of got worse. And so then I tried with the medication, with the counseling. The best thing for me that helps is stay on a good schedule, get exercise, medication, counseling, all like together. If I can do all those things consistently together, I usually feel good. If I start to slack off, then I feel bad again. So, yeah, but I like to bring it up because I know some of you also struggle with it, and so I think it's helpful to kind of be open about it. And I'm in a position where I can be open about it and not face, any kind of social stigma for it. I'm not afraid of being discriminated against at my job for it or anything like that. So not everybody's in that position. So I figure out, I may as well, take advantage of it while I can to, just share with everybody. Dion says, depression is a bummer. I need to get some medication myself. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a doctor, so definitely, check with your doctor and everything. Different people have depression for different reasons, and there's different things going on, so definitely just, get to a doctor you can trust that can check out and try different things. Just be patient with it, because it takes a while to figure out, like, what medications work and what dosages work well, and you got to give them time to work. So it's kind of a long process, and sometimes you have to adjust along the way, adjust medications, adjust the way you're treating it, but it's worth it to try. Just if you're struggling with that, don't give up, keep trying. Even if you can feel good just for a little while, it's worth it. Michael says, my wife walked in when you were talking about depression. She started pointing at me and told her she needed to see the stuff before. Let's see. Nikki says, by the way, I love that indentation indicator VS Code has that highlights at what level you are. Yeah, really useful. And says, and Jesse, you need some bracket pair colorizer in your life if you don't have it already. Yeah, you know what? That's been mentioned before. I don't think I have it, at least not on this computer. So I'll have to remember to install that. All right, Michael says the location of the header is more about ARIA, so like accessibility, than formatting. Cool. I mean, I think it's a nice bonus that the formatting happens to look better in that case too. Smikmani says, me too, anxiety and a constant feel of worthlessness, mainly after a traumatic event that happened 2 years ago. Mental issues are crazy hard to deal with. I never had them before the second year period. You know what, Smikmani, if you haven't already, I'd recommend researching a little bit about PTSD, so post-traumatic stress disorder. My wife had the same issues after she had some really crazy health issues with the birth of our last child. So you may be dealing with that, especially if there was an event that triggered all that. So look up that and like some of the treatments and things, because that might be a good way. Like I said, if you haven't already, and I'm not a doctor, a psychologist, or anything. I just know what my wife went through, and so it might be an area you just want to learn more about. Lugomania7 says, "Thank you, Jesse. You're welcome. No problem." McMoney says, hope from the bottom of my heart that you find peace. You have helped me a lot to learn React. Thank you. And I hope the same thing for you as well. Jordan asks, what I miss? I guess a lot. We've been streaming for over 2 hours now, so you may want to just go back and rewatch. I don't know that I could sum everything up right now. Oh, Worlds also said it sounds like PTSD. Yeah. Phoenix says, I'm finally down to my exams for this semester. Hooray. Congratulations. I hope you did well. Kamau? I'm really sorry. I probably just messed up your name. Please let me know how I should pronounce it. But anyway, they say, what's your take on progressive web apps, PWA? You think that it'll replace native apps? I don't know. Native apps are so entrenched in people's lives right now. It'll take a while. I think it'll take a while. So I don't think they'll be around forever, but it's going to take a huge shift. Like those of us who are developers and understand them, I think are way more open to them than the average person who's just like, you download an app, like that's how it is. So it's definitely going to take, if let's say Apple and Google on their mobile operating systems really pushed it, it could happen. But if that doesn't happen, I think it's going to be a hard sell because people generally just continue to do what they've always done. So unless there's a really good reason for them to start using progressive web apps more, they're going to stay with what they have. So anyway, that's my kind of opinion on it, and take it for what it is. I'm no expert, right? Phoenix says, also, I'm currently going through that stressful period of my life. Imposter syndrome, existential crisis, feeling like I don't know anything. Yep, all those are my daily thoughts. Hang in there, Phoenix. I mean, I think most of us has been through stuff like that. The imposter syndrome gets better. At least in my case, it gets better. Really, since I started live streaming, my imposter syndrome has gotten better because I've laid everything out there for everyone to see. All my code, even some of my, my personal issues, things like that. And people still watch my show. They're still positive about it. And so my fear that people will figure out that I have no idea what I'm doing has been proven to be a false fear, right? So that's helped me to get over that. So I think the more work you do, the more good work you do that you're proud of and that other people like, it will help you get over that imposter syndrome. Steven says, well, Jesse, I had no idea you ever had it, meaning the depression. Just remember, your stream led me to my first front-end programming job, so you got that. Hashtag hype the stream. Now I'm learning React. Thank you, Steven. Honestly, comments like that really do help a lot. And this stream has helped me a lot. One of the things with depression is you get depressed, like you don't want to see anybody. You just want to be by yourself and not do anything. And that just makes you more depressed. So me wanting to keep streaming for you all has helped me to, like, I have a community now. You know, I have you all that I talk to, you know, very frequently. And it forces me out of that state of I don't want to talk to anybody or do anything. You know, so, and to be honest with you, it forces me to act like I'm not depressed, because I don't want to act depressed on the stream. You know, I don't want to spread my depression, right? I want to spread happiness. So literally, I take caffeine and try to pump myself up. I listen to upbeat music and I try to act happy even if I'm not. And sometimes just that acting helps me to feel happier. So I'm always exhausted after I stream, which you all don't see that, but like when I stop streaming, I just sink back in my chair and just catch my breath, right? It takes a lot out of me, but I think it's helpful. The stream has helped me, and comments like that help me. You all, I feel like we have a relationship, right? We don't see each other in person, but you know we have this connection now, and it's real. It's important connection. So I don't want to get all emotional on you all in the stream, but I just want to let you know that I really appreciate you all, and it definitely helps me, not just in the coding, you know, but also with the depression and everything as well. Phoenix says, coding helps me get through it. You have no idea how helpful you are at this time. I feel lucky to have toppled over your live streams at the right time. Oh, Phoenix, I appreciate you saying that. I'm really, really happy that I could help. Eva says, are we talking about coding or psychological problems? Both. We normally just talk about coding, but occasionally we do talk about psychological problems. If you're not into that right now, that's cool. Don't worry about it. We will talk about coding. Like 90% of the time we talk about coding. So it's mainly coding. But if you want to talk about psychological issues, we do as well. So yeah, because I think other things in life affect coding. I mean, it's just the way it is. On MPG says, when or what kind of project do you use library for state management in React, like Redux? Because I see you're not using it in this project. I'm on a project right now, and sometimes I get confused about using it or not. When I find that I'm passing props down multiple levels, then I consider using state management. If I'm not doing that, I don't worry about it in general, right? So if the project isn't gotten like that big that I need to do that, I just go without it, because it's simpler to not use it. I have used Redux before. I like Redux. It's a little tricky, but yeah, so that's usually how I decide whether I want to use state management library or not. Carlos says, hello Jesse, hi everyone, I'm late but I managed to get the live feed. Hey Carlos, how's it going? Steven says, I do need to tweet you some of my sites I've made with the company so you can see what I'm creating. I keep forgetting to do that. Up to 39 new sites in 6 months of work. Oh yeah, awesome Steven. I definitely want to see those. So yeah, if you get a chance and remember, yeah, send me those. Michael says, don't most coders have psychological issues? I don't know. I don't really know. I think a lot of people do. So I guess coders would do as well. I've never seen anything that said coders are more likely to have psychological issues, but I don't know. Mental health's a big deal, right? And we're learning more about it than we ever have now. So I think it's good to talk more about it. You know, it's going to help people maybe who don't realize that they even have issues, maybe realize like, hey, wow, now I know what's going on with me, and I know I'm not alone in this, and there's ways to treat it. So I think it's getting better for people to be able to find help and different ways to treat these things. Yamil says, you just got a new subscriber. I have no idea of your coding skills, but you sound honest. That's more than enough for me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know about my coding skills either. I build things and they work. My boss is happy. So that's all I know. Whether or not I'm better than anybody else, I don't know. And it doesn't really matter. Carlos says, I'm actually a clinical psychologist, so coding and psychological issues is 100% good for me. Even if we talk about anything else, it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear you. Wow, Carlos, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, maybe we can talk about psychological issues sometime, Carlos. As long as you don't charge me for it, since that I'm just joking. Michael says, sorry, Jesse, didn't mean to make this a group session. Oh, don't worry about it. Harshit says, kind of scary to listen to this. About the mental issues, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to freak anybody out. Steven says, I will say I was really scared making a career change. Didn't trust myself in what I knew. It did take me some time to build that confidence. Carlos says, sure thing, LOL. Yeah, I mean, that's how it is sometimes. Career changes and things are huge. Like, I mean, it's huge. Waryu says, is it advisable to have a side project while working full time? I'm doing it right now, and I've done it in the past. It's a lot of work. If I'm gonna do a side project while I'm working full time, I need to have a really good reason. Mostly, like, I need to be getting paid a lot, because that's a lot of time away from my family, and I need to be able to show something for it. Like, hey family, like, we can buy this thing that you all wanted, or go on this vacation or something because I did this. So for me, that's what it needs to be. For some people, maybe this is my path to a promotion or getting a job or making the career change. It kind of depends on your situation, but just be aware, like, when you put in your regular full day of coding, trying to do anything after that is tough. It's not impossible, but it's difficult, and you could easily get burnt out. Edward said, I'm new here. What is this broadcast all about? Just really quickly, this broadcast is about me doing my everyday work as a full-time front-end developer. And so we do the projects, we talk about them together, and I answer questions, and we discuss things. So that's kind of what it's about. And I mess up a lot, and we go through it and try to solve the problems together. Steven says, teaching K through 5 to full-time programmer was a big change. Really scary move, but I don't regret it. Wow, I'd say that is definitely a huge change. But I'm glad that you like it and you don't regret it. So, all right, we're getting we're getting to the bottom of the chat here. We just have a few more comments, and I think we'll wrap things up. We have a hello from Ukraine. How long will it take to learn to code as a front-end dev? I can't give you time. It depends on like how many hours a day you have to dedicate to it, what you know already, and like how easy it is for you to pick up new concepts. So really not sure, but you know, as soon as you can convince somebody that they should pay you to build a website for them, then you're front-end dev, right? I mean, I don't know. There's different definitions, but to me, like, once you learn enough to actually build something of value to somebody and get paid for it, then at that point, you're a developer, at least a professional developer in the sense of the word. Like, a professional is someone who gets paid to do what they do. Carlos says, I have to change from clinical psychology to programming 100%. I changed from my country to my wife's country, so I have to do something else here. It's scary. That's how life is and learning. Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. That you know, life is dealing with change. Mohit says, hi. Hey, how's it going? Edward said, I'm from Ukraine too. Awesome. Carlos says, programming is a great asset for life, work, and any place on earth. Definitely. Amar says, how long will it take you to get a master with React? How do you master JavaScript as well? I don't really know. That answer is going to be different for everybody in terms of how long it takes to master it. And when it comes to programming languages that change, right, that can get updated, like, at what point do you really master it? Like, can you master it? I think the right thing to way to look at it is I'm always going to learn more, right? I'm always going to strive for mastery, knowing that you may never get there because there's always new things to learn. Nikki says, thanks everyone, got to go, bye, and go Belgium for the World Cup. See you later, Nikki. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging in there for so long. We're 2 hours and 15 minutes now. I got to make sure I don't go past my meeting. I didn't think I would even be close to this running into my meeting time at 3 p.m. Eastern, but now it's looking like it might. Mohit says, please suggest to me some project for MERN-Stack. I don't know if anybody has project suggestions for MERN-Stack. Please let Mohit know. I don't know anything off the top of my head. Probably because I've been streaming for so long. My brain is kind of starting to get mush now. Steven says, it has taken me a couple years of JavaScript, still not even close yet, but I have a 4-year-old, so I only do about an hour on each day and 2 hours each day on the weekend. Oh, cool. Cool, yeah, I totally understand how it is to try to do coding stuff with kids, so I can definitely sympathize with you there. Kids are wonderful, they're awesome, but for some reason my almost 2-year-old wants to help me code, which means she bangs on the keyboard and says, help dada, help dada. So it's really cute, but not easy to code. All right, I'm at the bottom of the chat now, and I definitely need to end so I can eat something and get all my stuff prepared for my 3 p.m. meeting. So thank you all so much for hanging in there for so long and helping me out, talking with me. I know we had a lot of new people. Welcome. And I'm going to be in the office again tomorrow. I have a meeting that I have to go to, so I'll be streaming again from the office, good quality. And probably sometime in the afternoon because I have morning meetings, afternoon Eastern time. So anyway, again, thank you so much, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Until then, I hope y'all have a wonderful day.